yeah, let's get going. So hi everyone, my name is Federico, and this is Cuttle's weekly live stream. I'm gonna, I wanna show you a project and a way to set it up. And I think this one is gonna be very beginner friendly, I think. But I'm still gonna use like Cuttle's kind of magic. So for those of you that don't know what Noun Project is, so Noun Project is this website where you can download icons and you can download SVGs. So you can like search here something like dinosaur. And then you can find any of these icons, and then you know that a human artist made them, and then you can download them for free to give in an attribution, but they also offer a subscription service where you can get the icon and then the artist that made it gets paid, which is cool. And you probably saw me use these in other Cuttle live streams, but this is now built into Cuttle, which is kind of cool. So you just kind of like get you get this service kind of like for free or like included. So the way you use it is like this, like you can use it with emoji. So whenever you grab an emoji component and then you come over here and search, you'll see that we get the Cuttle symbols that are built in, then we get the emoji, but then we also get the Noun Project. And so if I search for dinosaur, once again, it takes a bit searching, but like you can see the same design and the attribution is there, the same artist. And so you can use it like that, just like a separate shape, kind of like with the emoji. And of course, you can also use them on any text. Like whenever you see a text option, you already know that you can add, sorry, Dino. You can add any symbol by clicking right here. And you also get the Noun Project symbols or icons. So I can just add it simply with text. So I was thinking about interesting projects to do with these, and my colleague Internil suggested this website where like they sell plywood and other things, but they also include a bunch of files that you can like use. And among these files, we were looking at these puzzles, like for kids. So this one is like a landmarks puzzle, and then this one is like a fruit puzzle. And so I was thinking, oh, this is a good one to be able to place a bunch of different icons and then give them a treatment, and then like go ahead and cut it. So yeah, that's the goal. Let's go back to this blank project. I can probably close all these tabs. But so this is my idea. I'm gonna do it like first the simple version, and then I'll do the more sort of like Cuttle-ified version. So I think for the simple version, I think you would use something like you want like the board, the sort of outline where that's gonna go. I'm gonna do like a 4x3 by just having a rectangle. And then I'm gonna just round the corners. I think that looks kind of neat. And this is probably gonna be a cut, so I'm gonna go with a red stroke. And so now I want that icon. I want that like dinosaur. I'm just gonna roughly place it here. I wanna use that. This one kind of like, it's kind of cartoony and I kind of like it. And so let's scale it up. I can scale it by typing here, maybe 1.75 tall. That works for me. You could choose to engrave it, or you could score it. I think scoring is a little faster, kind of like in this one. The outline size are scored, and perhaps you might want to color it or something with markers. So I'm gonna change I don't want to fill. I want the stroke to be blue, so I'm going to score that. So the first thing we need to do is to create a sort of offset to be able to cut the outline. And so I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one by right-clicking here and duplicating, because I want to apply the offset to that specific one. And so you'll see that I have 2 copies. So I'm going to go here to modify, and then there is expand. And so I want this one that is expanded to be red because I'm going to cut it. One slight downside, kind of normal thing that happens with the offset is that sometimes it makes holes. So let me hide the blue line. So you'll see that I end up with like a hole right here in the eye, which is not ideal. And it might be more prominent if like the distance is, if we change the distance, well, not in this one, not in this case, but with others, you can get like a more prominent hole. So besides the expand, I want to remove the holes on that one. And so I'm going to apply the remove holes modifier, which is down here at the bottom, like right here. So that removes the holes on that outline, which makes it like cuttable. And then let me bring this back up. Excuse me. So at this point, I can actually just cut it as is, because I can just send it to the laser cutter. So let me show you. I actually did cut it. Here's that version specifically. So I guess you would cut a backer and then the front, which are the same size, like these. So you have like a support for your figure, and then this one would go here. Something that it would be nice to add is that these get kind of like hard to remove. Like you have to like stick your fingernail in there. So I like that little like finger hole feature. So let's add a finger hole to that one. I think it's gonna make it a little nicer, and that's the feature we see in in any of these. Like they have like a little finger hole added to it. So let me show you how to add that finger hole. Actually, just rename my project so I can see. So Kit's puzzle board. So let me explain how to add the finger hole. I guess there are multiple ways because I still want this piece to be cut out of that same material, but I want an additional cut over here that allows me to have that hole. So I think if you're doing like a one-off, you could use the arc. If you search arc over here, there is this arc from center on points, which lets me place an arc, and then let's change the color to red, and then just kind of like place the points where I want them to land, and something like these. So as you can see, I'm creating a sort of cutout. So this isn't the perfect way to do it, but if you're doing like a quick one, this one will probably work pretty well. You just have to be careful that the part that is kind of messing with me is that I would like it to just be very precise on the line. So something like that. So I could like go ahead and cut this one as is to get the finger hole. But the way I kind of would like to make it more precise is like this. Like let's say, let me delete that arc. Let's say I have a circle, and I want that circle to be exactly ½ inch. Let's make it red too. So let me see if I can explain this correctly. So I only want the part of the circle that is outside of the dinosaur outline. So let me hide things here so I can explain. So let me hide that and let me hide that. So I think the idea is that I want to mask it. So there is this modifier called mask, but it has certain like subtleties about it. So actually, let me put the circle behind the dinosaur. So I'm gonna select both shapes, and I'm gonna apply this modifier called mask, which is like right here. So as you can see, I lost everything, but I landed with just the section that is inside of the dinosaur outline. Meaning here's how this works. The topmost shape serves as the mask, and everything else is clipped. Meaning the topmost shape being the outline masks everything, and then I'm stumbling here. So whatever is inside the topmost shape gets left, and everything else gets clipped. But I actually want the opposite of that. I want whatever is not inside of the mask to remain. So you can actually invert the mask so that leaves only the contents outside of the mask. So that's what I want if I look at it. But I also want to keep the mask because I still want my dinosaur outline. So I can click here on keep mask. So this is the behavior I want. The kind of subtlety here is that like when we look at the mask, it matters that the shape that is at the top is the one that we want doing the masking. So because if I change the order, notice that I'm going to put the outline. Notice that now the circle is the mask, and then the circle gets on top, and it kind of cuts it out. So that's not the behavior we want. So if you run into trouble with mask, make sure that you have the right order. So let's go back to what I had. So yeah, with that known, let me go back to having all the other shapes. We can sort of replicate the same process to kind of make it more into a puzzle board. So I'm gonna grab another emoji. I'm gonna find another dinosaur. I saw a cool T-Rex over here. I like that one. I'm gonna use the same scale, 1.75. Oh, maybe bigger, actually. Did I do that bigger? Yeah. 2.5, just to match the size of the other one. So I got that. I want that to not have a fill, to have a blue stroke, because I want to score it. And so I'm going to just repeat the same operations. I'm going to duplicate it. So I can always just right click here and hit duplicate. And then that one is going to be a cut. Let's make it a red. I'm going to expand it by the same amount or offset it. This one ends up with like also a weird shape in the eye. So I also want to remove the holes. Remove holes down here at the bottom. I want to remove the holes on that one. And I want to have that circle that serves as the kind of hole, the finger hole. So I want that to be red. I did a 1/2 inch. And once again, I want to be careful about the order of things. So I want the circle below the outline. And then I'm going to apply that mask. And things aren't working, so I want to invert it. So it goes on the outside of the outline, and I want to keep the mask. And that creates precisely the effect I was looking for. So now I can send this to the laser cutter, and I actually did cut one just to show you. So here's that version. So as you can see, I have the cutout. Can lift it. These little shapes get discarded, but these are the ones that were masked. And then I can actually put my backer here, and I have my little dinosaur. So I was like kind of carefully explaining all the operations because now I want to kind of jump into the more elaborate version. So the finger hole works pretty well. I can like lift it without too much effort. So yeah, I like that. Now, if you're making just one and you don't want to make too many changes, I think this is good enough. But here's a downside of what I just did. So let's say I want a different dinosaur. So I can click this one and come over here and change it to this other T-Rex. So you can see the problem now. All the other operations didn't translate. So like I would have to come here, change the outline, and go and find the same one. Now it kind of translates, but not ideal. It's like too many things to change. Same with this one. If I were to try a different one, I want to try that one, I would have to come over here to the outline, find the same one. I don't know which one that was. Lost it. Anyway, too complicated. Because then if I want to move things around, I also want to be like careful that like they're grouped together and so on and so forth. So I want to make it in such a way that I can like place the shapes and kind of play with the composition and then get all the other like operations out of the way. So let me start a new project. I'm gonna go to File and New. So sort of to show you what I would think the advantage of separating things into components might be. So I'm gonna grab a rectangle again. I'm gonna do again a 4x3. 4x3. I'm gonna apply the round corners. I'm gonna go a little faster just to, so this would be my outline. I'm gonna just name it here. Outline. Then I wanna create a separate component that I'm gonna call the shapes. And this is where my shapes are gonna live. And so it's nice to have the outline as a reference here in the shapes because I wanna know where to place them. So I'm gonna place the outline, but I'm actually gonna make it into a guide. So there's an option here that says show guides. So that just makes it into something that doesn't turn into a cut, but I can still use it to place things where I want them. So let's try a different theme. I want to try like a fruits theme. I'm gonna grab an emoji. I'm gonna grab 3 fruits to start with. So I'm gonna search for a pineapple. There is an emoji that is a pineapple, but maybe I want like a different one. So let's try this one. Has a lot of cool stuff. I want that to be about 1.5 inches for the scale, just to be a bit bigger. Same here. Let's say I want a strawberry. I'm picking all examples that they're also emojis, but I want options. So I'm gonna try this kind of chunky one. I like it, 1.5. And then let's do a banana. And I want like a single banana. This is like this is a peeled banana. I want like a single one. I think this one. Yeah. So let's do a scale. So we're gonna do a little rotation here to make like a funny fruit face, I guess. So now that I have the shapes separate as a face, I want to do all the same operations I did before, but I want to do them kind of like as a batch. So let me create another component. And I suppose we could call this one the front layer because that's what I'm going to be cutting. Front layer. I can type it proper layer. So then the front layer would have the outline. That's my component that I created before. And it would have the shapes. I'm gonna grab all my shapes together. And so I wanna do the blue stroke to all the shapes. I'm blocking that. So I wanna give it a blue stroke to all the shapes and I'm gonna have no fill specifically. So that's just gonna be my scoring. Then I'm gonna grab all the shapes again and I'm gonna, I want this to be a cut with an offset. So once again, red stroke, no fill, and let's give that one the offset I used before. So modify, expand or offset. So that creates my outline. Here with the strawberry, we again see the need to remove the holes because we don't want to cut all those little holes out of our shape. So let's add the remove holes modifier, which is all the way down here. Remove holes. And so kind of did the same, but this is the advantage. I can go back to my shapes component, and if I were to pick a different emoji for the pineapple, for example, this one, then that change kind of translates to everything. Like now you can see that I still have the outline and I still have the position of that particular emoji. So this kind of allows me to play with composition more, like because for example, if I want to like have an additional pineapple, say I've duplicated, and I place it here, then you'll see that also translates with the offset and the stroke and all of that. So these kind of allows me to create a setup that then I can like come and like turn into, you know, other things. So I have to worry less about the operations, and I can sort of concentrate on the looks, sort of, or on the composition and whatnot. Which one is the one that I had before? Let me search again. I think it was, yeah, this one. Okay. So, and here I'm kind of editing, going back and forth between the front layer and the shapes, but I don't necessarily have to do that. This is also another way in which I can show you what is editing in context, which is I can double click into it. And so if you look, it creates this kind of like spotlight, and it gives me the name of the thing I'm editing up here. So I'm editing an instance of shapes. And so if I edit in context right here, it's actually editing the shapes component, but it's letting me see all the operations I apply to it. So this is useful because then I can see how all those modifiers that I apply are going to behave in this case. So I can like move this around and place it where I want it. And then to get out of that editing mode, I can just double click. So I double click to get into that editing mode, and I double click out of it to not edit that component anymore. But now let's add the holes. I also want to kind of be organized, and I'm going to create another component that I'm going to call the finger hole. And that's going to be a circle. It's going to be red again. And it's going to be half inch. What? Half inch in diameter. So this just simply allows me to reuse it without applying all those changes at the same time. So we have all the shapes here neatly organized as a group. So let's place, sorry, not a circle, I want the finger hole. So let's place the finger hole roughly where we want it. So something like that, something like that. And so with the mask, you want to group things too. So notice here that I have 3 of them. So I'm going to select them by holding Shift and then select them all. I want to make them into a group. I'm going to right click, group them. And I want to respect that order that I was mentioning before, because I want the shapes to be the mask and the group of, let's call these the holes, to be the thing right below the shapes. So now if I take these 2 groups and then I apply the mask modifier, I need to just tweak it a little bit again, pretty similar to what we had before. I need to invert it so it goes outside of the mask, and then I want to keep the mask. And so that allows me to just like add all the 3 holes in like one in one operation. So yeah, I went ahead and cut this one just so I could show you. So I got that because I would want like the little backer here. So I got my strawberry, pineapple, and banana. So this isn't necessarily like a template in that you get the final user a lot of control, but it is definitely like a sort of design template for you. One slight downside with the thing I just created is that now I can definitely kind of double click into these and change the fruits to other different types to see how they behave. What is this, strawberry? So I can try different versions of them. I can move them around. So if I double click but notice that if I move it around, the hole didn't come along. So that might be like a slight downside of the setup I created, but I can still like kind of play with the composition, duplicate things, change the, it's a funny strawberry with a face. And now if I want to edit the holes, I need to do the same operation where I'm editing the group specifically. So I can click on the whole group, double click into it. So now I get to like kind of move those individually to place them where I want them. And notice that I'm editing the holes group because it tells me right here also I have the name. Place this one over here. I can add additional ones while editing that group. And then if I double click out of it, the masking operation is applied and everything is kind of in order. So it isn't perfect, but I think it saves you time. I think once you have like a setup that you like, you can actually create variations. I'm gonna do Command D to duplicate, so I can have like another banana, smaller banana. And then double click out of it, and then double click into the holes to like place them again. Add another one there, and I have my like kind of cut file ready to go, which I think is kind of like a useful thing to do with templates, is to create kind of like nice versions of like kind of like setups that you can use to cut things. All right, so I think that was half an hour. Hopefully this gives you some ideas for things that you can do with the Noun project, and how to create this this kind of puzzle. Oh, one last thing. Yeah, I wanted to mention that. So I saw one of these that has like text on it. This one, where they added the landmarks and then they put the countries and whatnot. So I think, yeah, this is totally possible with this setup I created, because I have a front layer, and then I can create a back layer. This would be my kind of trick here. So my back layer would have like that outline, and then it would have the shapes. But in this case, I would want to use the shapes as a guide again for where I would want to place the text. So if I do that offset and remove the holes, sorry, I got complicated. But then I turn that into guides. Then those guides aren't going to be cut, but they're gonna allow me to place the text where I want it. So I could have like my pineapple text here. And so on and so forth. I could just kind of like engrave it in place. And when I create my cut file, you'll see how it goes. So my cut file is going to have the front layer and then the back layer. And then those are going to look like this. And then the text is going to be appropriately placed because I just used it as a guide. I mean, I use my shapes as guides. So yeah, that was the final detail I wanted to add to that. All right, cool. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the questions and comments. And I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.